Hi everybody, happy Sunday. So I just wanted to come on for a minute because on my way home from service today, I was just thinking about something. I started thinking about gifts, right? You know, who doesn't like gifts? Gifts come in pretty packages, there's nice things in them. And when you get them, you have no idea what's going to be inside, but you just are hoping for the best. You know it's something good. Well, then I started thinking about, bad relationships and how some of us, we really try really hard. Like if you've ever had a failed marriage, then, or you've been through divorce or you're going through divorce, you understand this. When you've been in a failed marriage, um, and you're really doing everything you can do, you're going by the book, and I mean the Bible, okay? You're trying to do everything God's way, you're praying, you're talking to Him, but that other person just does not seem to want to cooperate. Of course, we know as believers that it is the Spirit that's operating within them, right? So, especially if they're unbelieving. But I was thinking about that. So, I had to share that part with you so you would understand where I'm coming from with this. So, I thought about the gifts, and then I thought about how sometimes when we meet that person as believers that we think is the one, then usually they come looking like everything that you ask for. For example, I will say for 2 weeks when I ran into my ex-husband, and I prayed, God, send me someone who's going to love you, who's going to love family, and all the beautiful things that us women, pray for. I can't speak for a man, so I don't know what they pray for, but I know they have feelings too, and I could imagine they definitely want someone who's going to respect them, honor them, who's going to have a heart of service, to them, who's going to love God and love family too. I'm sure those things women and men have in common as far as values, especially when it comes to believers, okay? This is specifically for believers. And any of you, though, that are not saved and are not believers, still watch this message and take it as good teaching so that when you do desire for marriage or to be saved, that you can use this, okay? But I thought about the gifts. And anytime as a believer, when the Lord has promised you something, especially if it's something like a spouse, for example, the enemy is going to try to send a counterfeit. I'm not going to teach about that because there's so many words about that, and we know this already. The enemy is going to send a counterfeit. And if you want to trick someone, what do? You make it look nice. You make it sound nice. You make it smell nice. You make it walk right. You make it talk right. You make it say all the nice things, okay? You want to give it charm, a dash of this, a dash of that. I say that to say this. If you are a believer and you are praying, desiring or hoping for a spouse, or if you're just like me, you're in no rush. You're just out here living up, enjoying your time with the Lord. You're like, hey, Lord, whenever you're ready. But if you're not ready, please don't send me anything because I don't want anything that's not from you. Nothing. And I'm in no rush. I am enjoying my life right now because I've never had this kind of freedom. And the Lord is teaching me more about me and how I am to walk in my gifts and my calling. So I am happy and I feel so blessed. But I have prayed and He knows what I desire. But my desire is for whatever He desires for me. I had to go off a little bit on that one, but back to the point. So if you are a believer and you are desiring a spouse, then make sure you pray about deception and counterfeits and discernment, because you want to be sure this is who God sent to you. Because when you really want something, and I don't mean even just like a spouse, but with anything, when you really, really want something, a lot of the times you get so excited and anxious that when you think you finally got it, you become like that child. You're just overtaken with emotions and exhilaration, that, you know, you kind of don't pay attention to it. You're just moving out of emotion, okay? So we don't want to do that when it comes to picking someone who is going to be your partner for your life. You know, you as a woman being a helpmeet, and, you know, your husband being the priest of the household, you know. So you want to be very careful and very intentional about who you allow to be that close to you, to who you are considering becoming one with. Because as a believer, you should be dating with intention to marry. You shouldn't just be out here in these streets, you know, booed up, hooed up, and everything else. But that's not what we're made for. No, if you're a believer and you're seeking someone, you are a wife. You, man of God, are a husband. So you need to think that way. You need to let the Lord groom you and prune you that way, while you're in your season of singleness. So I didn't come on here to make this long. So my point is, pray that you do not be deceived and receive the counterfeit, okay? Because just like a gift, you need to understand that just like God gives good gifts, evil people give good gifts too. In the Bible, when Jesus was led by the Spirit to the desert, okay, and Satan tempted him, what did he do? He offered him the world. He offered him kingdoms. In this day and age, that would be like fame, or, you know, love, and all of these things that we want and desire as humans, but not in that way. So he tempted him. He tried him. So that goes to show you right there that Satan can give gifts too, and good ones, things that you really desire. But whenever you receive a gift from Satan, there's always a consequence and repercussions behind that. It's never freely given, okay? So when you are receiving a gift from Satan, it's actually a spiritual exchange. So while he's giving you something and you receive it, you're giving him your power. Okay? You don't want to do that. So you need to make sure that these gifts that you are receiving, think about this in the spirit, are good gifts that are from God. Okay? So whenever that spouse, that person comes into your life, that friend, you know, because friendships too, comes into your life, make sure that it is really a good gift from God. Because what I know for a fact and from experience is that sometimes when you really, really want a good gift, and for the first time in your life you feel like you finally received this thing that you really wanted in your heart and had good intentions with, when that gift shows up wrapped up in a pretty bow, looking right, talking right, smelling right, walking right, saying all the right things, and all of it just seems like too perfect, too good to be true, pray, pray, pray immediately. Close your mouth. Don't start talking. Don't speak out of emotion. Don't react out of emotions. Don't agree to anything. Take time. Sit with God. Listen to the Holy Spirit. Get in your word. Because I know for a fact that sometimes those beautiful gifts that are presented to you, all shiny and new and big and with the biggest bow you could find, could just be a cover-up. Because when you open that package, it is full of all hell that is ready to be released upon you. And when the hell is released, that gift might still seem good for a few years. And all of a sudden, when its time is set by Satan to explode on you and unleash its truth, it will. So, be careful what you accept and what you receive in your life. And the main thing about this is, just because it's a pretty gift on the outside, don't mean its contents are even worth your time. Don't mean its contents are for you. Does not mean that its contents are good, okay? You need to have discernment in all things. You cannot trust your feelings. We are spiritual beings, okay? And you have to understand that what you have in the flesh, you also have in the spirit. So God gave us those emotions and feelings for good reasons. They're not bad things, but you don't need to rely on them and make them an idol in your life. Okay? The only thing you need to idolize is God. Okay? So trust him. Hey, I'm praying for you. If you're desiring a spouse, I'm praying for you that the Lord sends you exactly what he has created for you to have. That one that's going to live the rest of their life out with you in happiness, peace, joy, and prosperity, being fruitful, going out here as power couples and, working in this harvest. Because the word says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Couples are laborers. There's power in two, okay? So I'm praying that, you get your heart's desires and then more. Because a lot of the times what you ask for, if you just trust God to send you what he wants for you to have, it's even better than what you wanted, because our minds are too small to even think that big, okay? So anyway, I love you. God bless you. Have a good Sunday. And go be with your family, okay? Later.